When it comes to natural evil, it may be argued that it is indirectly connected to the moral downfall of humankind. Such a belief gives rise to talk about how humans and creation are closely linked together. In the beginning, God granted the rulership of creation to humans. Genesis 1:26. However, the consequence of the fall meant that this order of creation was lost. From being in harmony, the curse of sin now infiltrated creation, making it an unfriendly place for living. Genesis 3:17 through 19. The present state of natural evil was thus never intended. Nonetheless, humanity's rebellion against God brought the curse of sin upon creation where it had been perfectly good before. Romans 5:12 through 14. Now, creation is waiting to be restored to its intended state. Romans 8:19 through 21. McFarland, however, sees natural evil not as essentially evil, because it happens without any moral intention. He means that for something to be named evil, the agency of a created being is necessary. Hence, the movement of tectonic plates, the cruelty of the animal kingdom, and sickness cannot be ascribed to any moral being other than God. Thus, McFarland finds it hard to label such events as evil. In strengthening this argument, he underlines how humanity is subject to both natural good and evil in God's order of creation, Ecclesiastes 3:1 through 2 and 3:11. Still, in light of the former answer, it may be discussed if such events are rooted in disobedience to God. If moral evil is the cause of natural evil, then God is still perfectly good and powerful. Holding McFarland's view, natural evil is no challenge either. God created both summer and winter. Summer may cause a forest fire and winter might freeze one to death, but that does not make the seasons evil. However, the attempts to explain intellectually why an omnipotent and omnibenevolent God would allow evil in the world may appear hollow to the person who has been subject to the horrors of evil. Even though free will might be the reason for school shooting, and autonomy could be explained as a neutral, non-evil event, these philosophical solutions do nearly nothing to accommodate for the reality of emotional chaos and anchor within the human soul. In light of this, we turn to an answer which is very appreciated by C.S. Lewis, the work of Christ as the ultimate expression of God's omnipotence and omnibenevolence. Becoming the victim of evil, God knows physical, emotional, and spiritual pain and is therefore able to feel empathy with the hurting. Creating the world perfectly good, God saw how humanity would give in to the temptation of Satan. Choosing not to remove the free will, God intervened in human history instead. Suffering as man and God under human conditions, Christ overcame the power of sin through his life, death, and resurrection, promising a future hope of eternal glory without evil. highlighting Romans 8:18, Ronald H. Nash articulates how Paul found his present sufferings nothing in comparison to the eternal glory that awaited him. Holding on to the promise of Christ, the Spirit comforts and gives strength to endure the evils of this world. Regarding Romans 8:28, Nash furthermore calls attention to how everything will ultimately work for the transcendent good. However, he also emphasizes the transcendent evil, which is the final destination for sin. This therefore leaves humanity with the free choice to trust or reject the glorious goodness and perfect power of God expressed in Christ. And now I would like to read my poetic conclusion. Why? Why does God allow that which is so hard to justify? If His goodness is without end, why is it then people feel betrayed by bliss? If true God is omnipotent, why doesn't He just wind up the wickedness? He tells people to despise evil, yet evil makes people despise Him. So many have tried to find solutions. I have humbly considered a few. Assuming God uses evil to perfect human morality, evil appears negated entirely. Though God may bring life from death, equating evil with goodness fails to see the conflict of sin and God's holiness. Redefining omnipotence, process theology places God under evil's influence. For God to see evil be defeated, persuading human agency is needed. It seems this view makes God less than who He is. Highlighting omnibenevolence, God's power remains infinite in the free will defense. Giving people the freedom to choose moral evil is God's will refused. Still, natural evil. Seeing creation as the victim of sin's initiation seems a sound explanation. Nonetheless, mind and heart are far apart. Yet God shows His omnipotence and omnibenevolence through Christ, who suffered, conquered, and partakes in people's painful stories, promising future life and eternal glory.